Hey, it's May 9th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live, presented by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Royal Banks of Missouri here on ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey and Rammer. For the first time in 3 weeks, the Cardinals have a day off today.
And they've done a pretty good job grinding through this first grind of a schedule. They did just that and played pretty well overall.
Yeah, they did. They ended those 20 games with a winning record, and they move on this week to where the Orioles come to town. And tomorrow, when we do this podcast and preview that Orioles series, I will call for a sweep, and I will be disappointed with anything less than 3 wins before the Giants come back into town. This past week,
that's all perfectly fine. It just goes to show that you represent the part of society that has been Vince McMahon, and you're in the majority now. I'm in the minority, but we want to have what we want. We want it now, and by God, it better be entertaining.
Absolutely,
so I get it. Yep. I get it.
The Cardinals this weekend, though, 4 games against the Giants. They split 2-2. But the biggest thing to come out of this weekend is Juan Yepez continuing to be able to hit after getting the call up from AAA. Yep. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and I think his production has led to us now trying to figure out where else they can put him in the lineup.
Yeah, and I think the lineup is an evolving thing. You know, it's really interesting that he is hitting so well. It was a great story that he told his mom he'd try and hit her a home run yesterday on Mother's Day, and then he delivered. And you've been looking to lengthen the lineup, and there it is. But it needs more lengthening, and there are a few other things to think about. He's doing his best to hold down right field, and the DH should be his, though. He should get the lion's share of those spots. And it's hard for me for the next few days, only few days, that anybody else would be playing in his spot. Now, what'll be interesting is now that the Giants have seen him, what will their approach be next weekend? That'll be the first real test, because baseball is a game of adjustments. So we'll see how that goes. But that, to me, will be the real test, not the Orioles, but the Giants. Although the Giants now will have, or the Orioles now will have film on him too. A couple other things to keep a lookout on. Take a look at my guy, leading off, and when you think about what you're trying to do in the lineup, Tommy Edman is like 1 for 13, maybe 1 walk in that time. And the only reason I would even suggest that you keep an eye on it is because of his history. His history is when he's hitting, he's got to be at the top of the order. But when he's not, you got to get him out of the leadoff spot, because it goes to 0 production. With the walks that he's had in the first 5-6 weeks of the season, I guess it's 5 weeks, you think, okay, maybe he is evolving as a hitter. So let's keep an eye these next few days. You don't want to chase stats, but you want to be aware of them as predictors. So that's the other guy in the lineup I think you really got to look at.
Yeah, back to Yepez, it looks like he does have a stronghold on that DH position. But when a lefty is going to be on the mound for the opposition, Albert gets that start. And then Yepez goes left, right field. And it is, you can switch so much around with Dylan Carlson being able to play center field. You're able to spell out each one of those 3.
That's right.
And put Yepez in there and find ways to get him out there in the field. And, we'll see next time Paul Goldschmidt's set to have a day off from the field, if Yepez goes over to first base and Goldschmidt just DHs for a game. So we'll see how that evolves over the next few weeks. But I think it's pretty simple. Just 1 week of being up here. When Sosa's ready to come back, it's Donovan that goes back down to AAA, and Yepez is here to stay.
Again, unless he goes 0 for San Francisco, because we'll see. Again, let's see how he adjusts. And I'm not predicting that he won't be terrific, but I am predicting he's not going to hit 480 this year. So where does that go? do the Giants go, oh, we got this guy's swing figured out now? And so that's the next step to see. So you probably don't make, dramatic changes yet, but, is it Donovan or is it Sosa?
It's as we also move through and look at what happened this past weekend. Ryan Helsley, another impressive outing, 10 innings now, 20 strikeouts, 0 walks, and ERA also of 0 on the season. It has been fun to watch him pitch. And Claves and I were talking about it earlier on the lunch show. The way the bullpen is evolving, you are starting to see guys fall into their positions, fall into their slots. You have two lefties for different situations. You have Palante is getting a much bigger role. You have that 8th, 9th of Helsley and Gallegos, and it's looking to be a very, very strong part of this Cardinals team.
Yeah, and as that stratifies and guys start to learn their roles, being able to go to a guy with legit expectations of what he can do in the 6th or 7th or pick an inning. Yeah, there's an old commercial. We have a tool for that. Well, the Cardinals you got a situation, Cardinals have a reliever for that. And that's sure how it looks. Maybe some mini drama in the near future, who gets the 8th inning, who gets the 9th. Probably not that big of a deal right now, but because you do have options, you don't worry about it so much. We do need to keep an eye on the rotation, as always. And we've got 3 guys that have offered different kinds of struggles. So let's keep an eye on those 3 guys, and with an eye on a return from Flaherty in a month, and see where those 3 guys stand. They've got a little time to work out their problems. And of course, we're talking about Matz, and we're talking about Hicks, and we're talking about who'd I leave out? And Hudson. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how those guys work out their problems. They've got a little time, not a lot.
Yeah, I've liked what I keep seeing now. Jordan Hicks as a starting pitcher, I'm fine with that. Steven Matz, I think the book's out on him. It's how is Mike Maddox and Steven Matz, how are they going to adjust to guys just jumping all over early pitches and being just as aggressive as they are against him? See how that goes. You mentioned Jack Flaherty. He did throw this weekend in San Francisco, so maybe a couple weeks away from sending him down to a rehab assignment, and I would say hopeful to see him very early in June based on how much he threw during his bullpen session out in the Bay.
Yeah, and one other note about Hicks. Yeah, Hicks is terrific, but if your 3rd and 4th starters aren't giving you innings, you can't carry a 5th guy giving you innings. Now, because you like Hicks, maybe you look at replacing the 3rd and 4th guys, but you can't carry 3 guys that aren't giving you innings. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I mentioned the 3 of them. For Hicks, hey, let me get to where I'm a 6-inning guy. For Matz, when he's good, but he's got to avoid just missing a pitch over the heart of the plate and getting destroyed. And Hudson's got to find the plate. So they all have things they can do to solidify their role, but you can't win big with 3 guys not getting to the 5th inning every time through the rotation. Can't do it.
The Orioles already won their game today in Kansas City, so we will preview that 3-game series tomorrow between the Cardinals and Baltimore with a 6:45 start time for that. We'll come to you maybe around the same time, maybe a little later tomorrow, depending on what our schedules can bring. But that's going to do it for our show today. Brought to you, as always, by Munganaz St. Louis Acura and our friends at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, 314-212-1500. For the best deal that's still available, Royal Banks is there for you in locations all over the metro area and Northeast Missouri. Give a call to Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been another edition of Daily Cards Live, presented by Munganess St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri, right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
At St. Louis Acura, we have over 330 pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models. And all of them are covered by our St. Louis Acura Promise and backed by our Better Business Bureau A+ rating and 30 years in business. We also service all makes and models of vehicles, including glass and bumper repair, paint touch-ups, and full mechanical services from one of our 24 technicians. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you, no matter what vehicle drives you.